Google Hangout. Google Hangout. Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session on what you can do now to reach your long-term money goals. To provide more insight, kindly post your questions on the comment box, and I will be answering them along with questions asked when you signed up earlier. My name is Emmanuella. Before we go on, I would like to tell you a little bit about me before we go into the business of the day. Well, I'm a certified financial planner and currently work with FBNQuest as an investment advisor. I provide wealth management advice and solutions to individuals and businesses. My career in this chosen field came from working closely with clients in managing their investments. The satisfaction I feel in seeing how fulfilled people get when they become financially responsible and ultimately working towards the achievement of their goals is really what keeps me going. I will advise you to post your comments in the comments part on YouTube, and we'll take questions as I can as we get along. So today's topic is on defining long-term and short-term goals and how we can achieve these goals. We all have long-term money goals, from the need to pay off debt, the dream to go on the world tour, buying a home, earning a second degree, building or diversifying investment portfolio, or even just starting a business or saving towards children's education. Long-term goals are generally not static and may need to be reviewed from time to time based on external circumstances or even the feasibility of the goals. Why is it that we do not achieve our long-term goals? Before we go on, I would like to take some questions on YouTube and see how many people we have that have signed on. Okay. Can you all see me? If you can, I'll need you to send me a chat. If you can't, also send me a chat so we can do the needful. Okay. Just trying to do a bit of setup just so that everybody can see and can hear me. Hi, Lulama, hi. You can see me and hear me, perfect. Okay. So you can all see me and I can see your questions as well. Okay, so we're talking about achieving long-term goals. So like I mentioned earlier, we all have long-term goals, and the reason why we can't achieve our goals is simply because of three major reasons that I have identified. The first being excuses. A lot of people come up with the fact that they do not have enough money, but I say to them that, of course you do. If you want to check how much money you have had in the last 6 months, simply walk to your banker and tell them to print your 6-month statement, and it will surprise you how much money has passed through your account. So people keep coming up with those excuses. Some people say that planning is such a big headache and it's quite complicated and do not have the patience to do that. For some of us ladies who believe that our husbands will worry about that and do not bother to plan. Some people may also say, you know what, I'm waiting to get a quick deal or a contract that will help me through without planning on how they will achieve some long-term money goals. Another reason I have identified is fear. A lot of people are afraid of investing. They think investing is risky and they do not want to lose money. Some of the people really do not have the information on, are not financially literate to understand some investments or savings opportunities that they can go into to achieve their long-term goals. So today we're discussing how you can move from goals to plans and then ultimately achieving your goals. If you're just joining us, Welcome to our community. We're speaking about achieving long-term goals through financial planning. You can log onto the YouTube page and post your comments so I can take your questions as we get along. What is financial planning? Financial planning simply involves the financial actions embarked upon from your current situation, this is where you are now financially, to your desired situation or goals. Your financial actions are a result of the goals that you desire, and your goals are largely driven by your values. The reason why some people at retirement will want to go on a world tour, and some other people would decide to pursue other social causes. So you can see that there's a direct link between your values and your goals. Another myth I would like to debunk is the idea that financial planning is only for the rich. I would like to inform you that it is really for everybody. If you have enough money, then planning can help you spend and invest it wisely. If your income seems inadequate, then taking steps to plan your financial activities would lead to an improved lifestyle. What are the rewards of financial planning? It helps to improve your standard of living. You're able to spend wisely because of the commitment required by the plan. You're able to accumulate wealth. So you're able to invest in financial and intangible assets. Your money is working for you because you have a goal and a plan as to what you want to achieve, and you're constantly investing in assets as against when you have no plan. So another reward of financial planning is being able to handle unforeseen circumstances. So no one wishes for unforeseen circumstances, but they do happen. I mean, the loss of a job, death of a spouse, an economic situation. We've just gotten out of recession in Nigeria. I mean, that was an unforeseen circumstance for a lot of families, and in that process, a lot of people lost their jobs. So doing what you need to accomplish financially and how you intend to do it gives you an edge over someone who merely reacts to financial events as they unfold. I'm trying to see if we have questions that I can take. I don't know if you can all hear me and if you can see me. Yes, I can see. Adebukola says I can see you. Tochi, welcome. I can see you as well. You can send as many questions as you have, and I would be glad to take them as we get along. So what are the 5 steps financial planning process? Taking us back a bit, I had said that our goals, our long-term goals, can only be achieved through financial planning. And we had talked about the rewards of financial planning, the reason why a lot of us do not plan our finances. So 5 steps financial planning. The first is to define your financial goals. In defining your goals, you have to be able to spell them out and state the goals in monetary terms, because money and the satisfaction it brings are the integral parts of financial planning. Remember, we had mentioned that your goals are driven by values, preferences, and things that matter to us. So which is why spenders are, it's a money behavior. So spenders will rather have something intangible like clothes, shoes, gadgets, than have something intangible like savings and investments. As against savers, on the other hand, who would like to accumulate significant wealth even with modest income. You have to be able to understand money, I say, has a psychology. You have to understand your own attitude to money, and your attitude to money will determine the sorts of money goals that you set for yourself. Savers are a bit conservative, which means that they would rather settle for conservative investments and not even be able to take much risk. So their investment tends to grow a lot slower. Givers, on the other hand, enjoy taking care of people. They commit their resources to making others happy and give heavily to charity. So they often forget their own needs, and their long-term financial plans suffer in that process. I can see you, Ruth Owolabi. Thank you for joining. Linda, can we get personal financial advisors that can help out? Yes. In FBNQuest, we work as financial advisors and investment managers as well. So we can talk about your investment with you, what matters to you, and we can give you investment solutions that can help out with your finance. So you can talk to us from FBNQuest where I work. I am willing to take more questions. Just keep the questions coming and I would answer as much as possible as we get along. So how important So what is your attitude to money that can best help shape your goals? Some questions you should start to ask yourself are things like, how important is money to me? Some people see money as a tool, others do not. Where do I want to be financially and professionally in 5 years and 10 years? If I dropped out of school today or lost my job, what would I do? How prepared am I? Do I have an emergency fund? An emergency fund is your 6 months income from either your business or your salary. So for example, if you earn 100,000 Naira in a month, your emergency fund should be about 600,000, or should be not about, but should be 600,000 Naira at every time T. What types of spending gives me satisfaction? Am I a risk taker? Do I need large financial reserves to feel secure? Adebukola, I can see your question. You're asking, can property like lands be an investment without building on it, especially if I have no intention of building on it eventually? Yes. You must try as much as possible to diversify your investment portfolio. So property is what we call, in asset classes, what we call real property, tangible assets. You can also have that. And the thing about property is that it always appreciates. You can hold, you can buy, hold, and then sell after a while. You can also buy and hold it. You'll be making money off it, because you can never sell property at the cost that you went into it initially for. One key thing about property is location. If you buy property in a good location, you will get the money's worth for it. But I would say whatever it is, another thing that is important about property is documentation. Whatever property you have, try and ensure that the right documentation is in place for it. Ruth is also asking, yes, I need assistance with investment solutions because I find myself withdrawing from my savings. I need to be better with my savings this year. Yes, Ruth, that is the work I do. It will be nice for you to come to FBNQuest, where we can sit to understand your unique needs, understand where you want to be, your goals, and we can profile the right solutions for you. And even just help you diversify your investment portfolio, so you have your savings completely different from your investments. So knowing the answers to the questions I had mentioned earlier is a prerequisite for developing realistic and effective financial goals and plans. Remember, put down your goals and attach the monetary value of each goal to ascertain how prepared or unprepared you are in meeting them. So in financial planning, the next step after defining your goals, which I said is a function of our values and how we are, our makeup, the next thing you need to do. So in defining your goals, I mentioned that, but I think I need to reiterate, is to attach the monetary value to your goals. So if you want to be a millionaire, it's not enough to say I want to be a millionaire. You have to say I want to be worth 100 million. I want to be worth 20 million. I want to buy a house. So attach monetary value to your goals, and it will help you see exactly where you are and the gap that exists from where you are to where you want to be. The second step in financial planning is assessing your current situation. This is looking at where you are now vis-a-vis where you want to be. So in looking at your current situation, you'll be looking at things like your net worth. Your net worth is your total assets minus your liability. Your assets are the things that you own, and your liabilities are things that you owe. So examples of your assets are things like cash in hand, cash in the bank, your savings or current account balances, property, personal property like jewelry can also be assets. Some investments are assets as well. And your liabilities are things like mortgages, loans, credit card balances. Those are, so if you need to find out what your net worth is, get a total of your assets and the total of your liabilities, and do the minus what you have, or what you have is exactly what you're worth. If your liabilities far outweigh your assets, then you have a negative net worth, and you need to start to work on changing that by the investment decisions that you take vis-a-vis the goals that you have. I'll be taking some questions now. It's not a fantastic location, so it's probably long. Okay, Afoma Agbedion, I agree with Ruth Owolabi. I keep borrowing from my savings. That is why you need to have a plan. If you have a plan and you're investing in the right solutions, or you have been, your plan has been reviewed by an investment advisor, you'll be able to have the discipline not to go into, because you already know you have a plan. So it has a way of keeping you in check, and you're not constantly going back to your savings. I say that two things are important for investment: consistency and discipline. You must work with a budget. I know people that when they're going out, they take a specific amount of what they want to spend, just so that they're not, overshooting, getting into trouble, or dipping their hands into their savings and investments. Lulama, you said, my goal is to be debt free. What advice do you have for credit card debt reduction? I would say that for credit card, you just have the cash and always pay for your credit card periodically. So if it's a monthly payment, you want to set up an account. If you take some credits from your credit card, just make sure you have an account funded that pays back your on your credit card. I always advise that. Deliwe More, as FNB clients, what is the best way to access the information and products? So we have a website where you can go to get as much information as you can. We'll share the information right after this, and I'm sure that you'll be getting that from the She Leads website as well. So in accessing your current situation, which is the second step in financial planning, we had talked about your net worth. The next thing you'll be looking at is your cash flow, an analysis of your cash flow. So your cash flow will be your income minus your expenses over a period of time. So if you have a cash surplus, meaning that your income far outweighs your expenses, then you're in a good place. If you have a deficit, then you need to quickly do something to ensure that, the reverse is the case. I always say that whatever your cash surplus is plowed back into investment. So what are your income? Your incomes are things like your salaries, your income from business, bonuses, commissions, dividends, and all of that. Your expenses are monies you spend on housing, utility, food, transportation, and medical. So your cash surplus can be plowed back into investment, like I said earlier. Once all of this has been done, it's important to prepare an annual cash budget by month, where you can take into account estimated monthly cash receipts of cash expenses for the coming year. Tying all of this together will be able to put your financial life in perspective and give you direction as to the roadmap to adopt. So all of this analysis is just looking at where you are now vis-a-vis what you want to achieve. So if it's looking like you're not quite there, or there's a gap, then you need to start to develop plans. So if you sit with a wealth advisor, they will talk to you about what plans you need to. There's so many plans that suits various individuals and various and different targets and goals. So in developing plan, once the two major steps above have been achieved, which is defining your goals and analyzing your current financial state, you'll have to develop a roadmap, which is the plan that I'm talking about. So some plans that we have identified, or we constantly see in doing our work, is things like asset planning. So you start by cutting aggressively on your expenses. So once you notice that you're constantly dipping your hands into your savings, you need to be able to cut down on, look at your expenses, your income and your expenses, and see where money is constantly going into. Once you haven't done this homework or this assignment of checking your income against your expenses, then you would not be able to find out exactly where the gaps are. Once you do that, you will be able to start to build what you call an emergency fund. And you can build your emergency fund through investments in money market, stocks, bonds. I recommend money market for emergency fund, because emergency funds are things you want to quickly build up in the next, in the fastest possible time. And money markets investment is what can help you with that. Your money markets investments are invested in money market securities that mature within a year. They're very liquid and there's no volatility to it, so you're not investing and then losing your capital. So I would say in building an emergency fund, the first sort of investment to look at is a money market investment. I'll be speaking to you shortly about opportunities in money market investment that FBNQuest has. You also increase asset by earning passive income. So some people will say, I do a 9-to-5 job, but I have skills in other areas. So you can start to build passive income from engaging other skills sets that you have. So another sort of plan that I recommend to people is a liability and insurance plan. A liability is something that we owe. At some point, you will find that you will need to, invest in either buying a car or even owning a home. So money is going out of you. Eventually, it's coming back as an asset. I always advise that you borrow for assets and not borrow for consumables. So if you're taking a mortgage to buy a house, the assets is the property. I mean, you can go ahead and do that, but I mean, taking or borrowing for travel is not something I quite recommend. You can save towards the lifestyle that you want or whatever, but not taking loans to for expenditure. I really do not advise that. I always say to myself that if I cannot afford what I need to do, then it's really not the time for me to do it. A financial advisor, like I said, can help you achieve this. Let me go back to some of your questions and see if I can take them. FBNQuest location contacts. Okay, so you can go on our website and you can get our location. We're in Lagos. We're also in Abuja and Port Harcourt. So you can get the addresses from there. Now, insurance planning, risk management planning is another plan you can take on. You find that the minute you start to acquire assets, you will need to obtain adequate insurance coverage to reduce the financial risk and protect both the income and both income and assets. So another plan is savings and investment planning. Wealth planning. As your income begins to increase, so does the importance of savings and investment planning. Initially, people save to establish an emergency fund. So that is like that's the base. So you start by establishing an emergency fund. And an emergency fund, like I said, is your 6-month salary or your 6 months income from business, and for meeting unexpected expenses. Eventually, however, we must then deploy greater attention to investing excess income as a means of accumulating wealth. So when you do a contract and you have money, or when your bonuses are paid, your cash surplus should be plowed into investments. You eventually build wealth through savings and investing in various investment vehicles such as shares, government and corporate bonds, mutual funds, and real estate. It's important to start to build wealth early. If, for example, you started investing, I'll give you a simple analogy here. So it's good to start early. I'm not saying that it's you can start, I mean, it's not too late to start now, but it's very important to start as quick as you can. So if you started investing 10,000 Naira monthly at the age of 25 at an interest rate of 10%, by age 65, you will have grown your wealth to over 64 million. The power of compounding interest. However, if you start out with the same investment terms at age 35, which this is 10 years later, by the same age 65, your investment will be worth 22.6 million. So see how much 10 years delay can get you. And then if you start the same investment at age 40, which is 10,000 Naira monthly at 10%, your investment will be worth 13.2 million. This shows that we must commence our savings and investment plan now to build wealth that can be used to achieve goals. Other planning types that your financial advisor can recommend to you are employee benefit plans. Some of us work in places where we have good benefits, you get bonuses. It's important that you plan towards that. If you work in like an oil and gas where you get a lot of benefits periodically, it's good to speak to your financial advisor to understand what's coming in and how to channel it into some sort of investments to ensure that you're meeting your long-term goals. Tax planning is also very important. Retirement and estate planning. So as we get older in our financial life cycle, we can start to look at retirement and estate planning. As people grow older, they must also consider how they can most effectively pass your wealth to your heirs through estate planning, where all that you have worked for is consolidated into a trust for a seamless transfer to your beneficiary. So After going through this third stage of the financial planning process, you have to start to implement your plans and attach timelines to your plans. You review your plans periodically based on social and economic changes that may occur. Now, what do we do in FBNQuest? A lot of people have been asking about numbers, emails, website, and that has been posted on the page. I'll tell you a bit about what we do. FBNQuest Asset Management is a subsidiary of FBNQuest Merchant Bank, which is a part of the FBN Holdings PLC, one of the strongest and most dependable financial groups in Africa. With approximately 211 billion assets under management as at December 2017, we offer a range of investment products and services with strategies spanning asset classes and sectors. We guide our clients through Africans' dynamic assets and give them the best of opportunities that shape their investment portfolios. At FBNQuest Asset Management, we provide customized solutions to clients' investment management needs through 4 core areas. We offer what you call mutual funds, discretionary portfolio management, liquidity management, and structured products. For the purpose of time, I would only be speaking to you about mutual funds. We'll limit our conversation today to mutual funds and talk about the others in subsequent sessions. So what are mutual funds? Over the years, mutual funds have made a name for being one of the simple and affordable ways of individuals, investors to realize their short-term, medium, and long-term goals. Mutual fund is an investment vehicle that allows you, an investor, to combine your money with that of other investors seeking a similar investment outcome, and then have a professional investment manager use their skills to manage the investment. The investment manager invests in various instruments such as cash, treasury bills, bonds, equities, or shares. To create and manage your own diversified portfolio, you usually will need a lot of capital. So if you were doing it on your own, and market understanding. However, if you were investing in a mutual fund, you benefit from the pool of funds of various investors. Some mutual funds pay distributions quarterly, semi-annually, or annually, and the distribution can be reinvested as you wish. So you're earning interest on the return that you have made from mutual funds. I'm not seeing any questions coming in. I want to believe that we still have a lot of people joining us. Let me just go back because I'm not seeing some questions coming in. Ooh, let me check and just to be sure. Okay. Okay, we have 49 people watching. Okay. Okay. Yes. So I guess for me, it was just need to be sure. Okay, I just need to be sure that we have those questions come in. Okay. Now a question came in from Bliss M. How can I start saving with a 50K monthly pay with school fees of 150K to pay? So we have mutual funds with as little as 5,000 minimum investment that you can start to invest in. The money market fund is a minimum of 5,000 Naira. So no matter how little, your 50K, from your 50K, you can take out that. I always say that whatever comes to us, a minimum of 10% of your earnings, either from salary or from business, must go into investments. So for Christian, once you're done with paying tithe, if you believe in paying tithe, I think that the next 10% should go into investment. So from 50K, you're still able to build an emergency fund and build a savings. Okay, so Afoma, you want to know more about the money market fund? Yes, I'm going to be talking about it once I deal with the benefits of investing in mutual funds. So like I said, quickly, the benefits of investing in mutual funds. The first thing is segregation of assets. So in mutual funds, the custodians who holds the money is completely different from the fund managers, just so that there are no conflicts of interest. So that's what you enjoy in investing in a mutual fund. Affordability is also what you enjoy in investing in a mutual fund. Money is pooled together and transaction done in a cost-effective manner. You're also entrusting the fund to expert management as against you investing by yourself. Tax advantage, the distribution or the return from investing in mutual fund is not subject to any form of tax. The asset management business is regulated by SEC, and SEC will not allow us to charge any tax, any withholding tax on the returns investing in a mutual fund. Liquidity is also what you enjoy. You have access to money when you require it. For the mutual funds, you can go in and come out as you wish. Variety is also what you get. Different mutual funds exist to achieve different objectives. So you wanted to know about the money market fund. The money market fund is the fund. The money market fund simply invests in money market securities, such as treasury bills, commercial paper, bankers' acceptance, and certificates of deposits. It's an excellent short to medium term investment solution with low risk. The fund offers higher interests when compared to rates on savings accounts in commercial bank. The average yield right now on the money market fund is between 14% to about 15%. So you can imagine getting that on your 5,000 Naira. You wouldn't get that anywhere. Last year, returned 17.42% against its benchmark of 16.64. As earlier mentioned, the minimum investment on the money market fund is 5,000 Naira. And the minimum holding period is 30 days. Minimum holding period meaning that the minute you make your first investment, you can wait 30 days before pulling out. Not like you cannot pull out your funds, but I mean, you'll be charged 10% of the interest. The money market is safe. Capital is preserved, so you're not losing anything. And I can mention the minimum investment is 5,000 Naira. The other mutual funds that we manage in FBNQuest is the Smart Beta Fund. We have 5 mutual funds, by the way: the Money Market Fund, the Smart Beta Fund, the Fixed Income Fund, the Heritage Fund, and the Eurobond Fund. But I'll basically be talking to you about 3 main funds: the Money Market Fund, the Smart Beta Fund, and the Nigerian Eurobond Fund. The Smart Beta Fund seeks to provide long-term capital growth by investing mainly in diversified portfolio of equities listed on the stock market. So it's really a difference. Really, you would say that that's the opposite of the money market fund. While the money market is invested in money market securities, with the Smart Beta Fund is invested in equities. So for the Smart Beta Fund, there's a bit of volatility because of the sort of assets that is underlying, the underlying assets, which is equities. The Smart Beta Fund is for people that want that sort of exposure to equities, but do not have the capital to really play in the stock market. So you have exposure with your 50,000 Naira. 50,000 is the minimum investment. You're still able to play in the equity space. Smart Beta Fund returned 51.61% last year against its benchmark of 42%. And from inception, January 2016 to date, it's returned 70%. So you can imagine that if you started investing in the Smart Beta Fund, your investment would have returned 70% to you. The minimum holding period is 180 days, and the distribution is done annually. The other mutual fund that I would like to talk to you about is the Nigerian Eurobond Fund. The Nigerian Eurobond, as the name goes, is denominated in dollars. It seeks to provide competitive income and total returns to investors in dollars. So you know that for you to play in the Eurobond space now, you must have at least a minimum of 200,000 USD. But with the Eurobond Fund, with a minimum of 2,500, you're able to play and get exposure in that space. I recommend this really for people that have future expenses in dollars. So for example, if you're saving towards children's education, and you're thinking that that expense or that outflow will be done in dollars, then it would be nice to. And also, if you earn in dollars, this is a good investment to put your money into. The yield last year was 12.17 on your dollar investment. I mean, you can't get that from any domiciliary account, against its benchmark of 5.1. Its benchmark, by the way, are Eurobonds 2018 plus 100 basis points. So these are some of the mutual funds that we manage in FBN Capital and FBNQuest Asset Management, sorry. If you are interested, our details have been sent. You can call us, you can send us email, and then we will speak to you about your own unique needs and how best we can go about some of these investments. Shield's community will also be posting some tips about the features about the funds to you. You can learn more from that as well. So as we close today, I would like to leave you with some personal financial planning tips. The first will be to budget and monitor your expenses. Budget and monitor your expenses. Go through, see what is taking money out of you, see what constantly makes you go through to your savings, and cut down. Look for substitutes as much as possible. Dining out, I say in Lagos, is very expensive. If you dine out every Saturday, think about dining out maybe once in a month. Traveling is also very expensive. If you were traveling twice in a year, maybe cut it down to once in a year, just so you're able to help you achieve your long-term goals. Differentiate between needs and wants. Some things, it's not everything that you desire or wants that is needed. So you should be able to differentiate between needs and wants. You should fight inflation by being prudent in your spending. Reduce your bills by being more efficient, even as little as your light bulb in your house. You'll be able to cut down on energy costs by turning off some appliances when they're not in use. All of that adds up to being able to help achieve your long-term goals, or even hamper in achieving your long-term goals. Pay off existing debt and ward off the temptation to take on new ones. Keep investing your excess. Whenever you have cash surplus, think about the next investments to put it into. And then maintain a healthy lifestyle, because you can't work so hard and you can't work so hard and not have the health to be able to enjoy the monies that you would have invested over the years. As we mark the celebration of this year's Global Money Week, always remember that money matters to us at FBNQuest. Thank you very much for joining the conversation, and I hope that I was able to take as many questions as possible. Now, if you have more questions and you need me to talk to you personally, my details will be shared. We can talk about your unique needs and how we can partner with you in ensuring that you achieve your long-term goals. Thank you, and have a good day all. Bye.